Before taking notes, pause for a second. What are you trying to get out of this particular source? Are you ready to get inspired, perhaps, to get new ideas, see how this source can maybe impact your work? Or perhaps you're reading to try to learn something from scratch. You are new to an area and you want to get all the basics so that you can start learning more in that specific topic. Or perhaps it's none of those two and you actually have a particular question and you are just looking for the answer to that. So the reason why you're reading will impact how you should take notes. Because if you just take notes without thinking much about your purpose for reading, what will happen is that at the end, those notes may not serve you. So let's explore how to match your notes taking to 3 different reading goals. Reading for inspiration. If your goal is to be inspired by a source, then your notes should contain your thoughts inspired by the source, okay? Not just a highlight of the source, not a copy paste of the source. So, what types of things you could write in your note? What caught your attention? What's the thing that brought some inspiration, okay? And why did it catch your attention? Is it interesting? Interesting. Why is it interesting? Okay. Or perhaps it's relevant. Relevant for what? Okay. For a project, for something you're trying to do. Or perhaps it caught your attention because it's puzzling. Okay. It goes against what you currently think or what you currently believe or what you currently understand. Why is it different from what you currently understand? And after having thought about what caught your attention, now what does it remind you of? How can you connect what you got from the source to your experiences, to your current knowledge, to other sources you have read? How is it inspiring you in another thing, okay, based on your goal? And these notes tend to be very long personal notes, okay? And that's the type of note when you are reading for inspiration. Reading to learn from scratch. If your goal is to learn something new, like learn the basics of microeconomics when you have no prior knowledge about it, then your notes should reflect your understanding about what the source is saying. So you could think about questions like this. The source said that, and then you add the quote, and by this I understand that, and then your explanation of it. According to the author, and then you explain what the author has said as if you were explaining to someone else who didn't read the source. Or this relates to a project, previous knowledge, or other things in, and you explain how they relate, because, and then you go on that direction. I agree or disagree with the source because, or the more complicated one, which is I don't understand what the author means by, and then you quote what the author said, and then you try to explore that a little bit. Do they mean this or that? If they mean this, then this is the consequence of believing this. But if actually they mean that, what's the consequence? Okay. So with that, you have a conversation with your source. So if you are ready to learn from scratch, make sure that you capture your understanding of what you're learning. Reading to answer a question. If your goal is to answer a specific question, you may not even read the whole source, okay? Many people believe that you need to start from the beginning and go until the end, even when you just want maybe a paragraph, okay? So instead, scan for the relevant parts, focus on what matters, and then write the answers down. But there are 2 ways how we can do that, okay? One way would be like read, get the answer, copy paste, and it's done. But I will ask you to do something different. Rather than just answer the question, why don't you explore that answer? So you could think about something like this. According to the source, okay, the answer to, and you add your question, is, and the answer that they gave. But now we go one step forward. By this, I understand that, and then you add your understanding. Or this teaches me that, and then you connect with the reason why you asked the question in the first place. So you're not just getting the answer itself, but you're actually connecting to the reason why you care about the question in the first place. I'm satisfied or not satisfied with the answer because if you're not satisfied, you may continue your quest for the answer. So here is what I'm doing next with this information. okay? So it's much more actionable. Your notes now have a meaning to exist, okay? It's not just like copy paste, okay, I have an answer, move on. You actually understand the answer. The answer is meaningful to you and you can act on it. Nowadays, there is no point in taking notes that are just passive copy paste of what is in the source, especially when you have AI to summarize, to search within the source, okay? So there's no need for do that. So instead, have a conversation with your source. So your notes should reflect your side of the conversation, your thinking, because your thinking is a part that only exists inside of your mind and body. So if you don't write it down, even AI cannot access that, okay? So next time you're taking notes of a source, just pause and ask, why am I reading this? Then make sure your notes reflects your purpose for reading. I hope you have enjoyed those tips. So leave me any comments if you have questions or any ideas that you want me to cover in future videos. Otherwise, see you in the next video.